Hey, what's up, guys? It's Dorian, and I am here with Elementary OS 5.0 Juno, the beta version. I know everybody's excited, and people are asking the developers constantly, when is it going to be ready? When is it going to be ready? And they haven't set a date, and they've said, you know what, it'll be ready when it's ready. And I respect that because you do it right the first time and people will be happy, right? So, anyways, this is the beta. It is based on the Ubuntu 18.04 Bionic Beaver core, of course, with all their own stuff put on top, which means it uses the 4.15 kernel for better support for newer hardware, security fixes, etc. Let me just fire up here before I start opening stuff. Let's do top. So we're using 715 megabytes of RAM, which is okay. It is comparative to KDE or GNOME. It's not a super lightweight one, but it's very nice. Let me just zoom this in here. So yeah, 716 megabytes roughly. And so let's quit out of here. And it is, just clear this, I always have trouble typing uname. The kernel 4.15.0-23, very recent for Ubuntu, same thing that 18.04 uses, and this also uses the LightDM display manager. So when you're logging in, that screen that you see, that's what they use. So the desktop, as you can see, is gorgeous. It's beautiful. It's simple. Even the terminal. This is a gorgeous terminal. And let's see. Let's open the file manager. You know, everything is just super nice. You'll notice one thing: the close buttons are on the left. And I know some people hate that, but you know what? There is a solution for that. But I'll get to that later. And at first, when I started using the file manager here, I thought, well, this is kind of dumb because you only have this little area to grab for moving the window around. But no, it's actually pretty smart. You can grab anywhere. You can grab on a button, you can grab in here, and you start moving and it'll drag it. So awesome for that. You don't have to try and grab this little tiny spot. But anyways, absolutely gorgeous desktop. It's got the transparent bar up here. If you maximize a window, it turns to black, which is awesome. So same thing with the browser. Speaking of browser, it comes with web. Web is the regular Epiphany, or some people call it the GNOME browser. It's okay. You can still install Firefox if you want to. You can still install Chrome. You can install Chromium. You can install whatever you want. And as a matter of fact, do these shortcuts work? Yes, they do. This uses, because it is Ubuntu based, it uses apt. So anything that's in Ubuntu, you can get here. And you can see that it uses the Ubuntu repos for Bionic Beaver, as well as their own repos, showing your 9 packages can be upgraded. Yep. All right, so you can use anything that Ubuntu uses, as far as I know. I don't see any reason why it would be incompatible. It's the same kernel. It's based on Ubuntu, you know. So the desktop is called Pantheon, and it's built on top of GNOME's core components. So instead of taking the plain GNOME and then theming it and whatever, it's built out of the pieces of GNOME with GTK+, and it's been completely customized specifically for Elementary OS. It uses the Gala window manager, which has been adapted from Mutter. Or Mutter? Never know how these people pronounce these things. So anyways, yeah, it's from Mutter. So this is version 5.0, and you might be wondering one thing about how the previous version, Loki, was 0.4. Well, the developers realized that some people were thinking that meant that it was not a complete working distro yet, because it was only version 0.4, 0.3 or whatever. So to avoid any kind of confusion, I guess they decided, you know what, let's switch it. So they just switched it to 5.0. So 5.0 comes after 0.4. Makes sense to me. As long as you know, then yeah. Anyways, so some new UI elements have been improved. There's some animated icons up here, such as the little bell will ding and then have the red dot. I've noticed, like I said at the beginning, this is beta. There are a couple of little glitches here and there. It did work before, and the last time I had a notification, it did not work. So it did change to the red dot and the tilted bell, but it didn't animate, so not a huge deal. So it will work, I'm sure, when it's out, and maybe it's because it's in a virtual machine. Other than that, the applications menu up here now has this little magnifying glass, which is really just something to let users know that they can search, right? So you can actually type things in here. It's not just a menu that you can scroll through, and then this, right? You'll probably notice that I have two calculators here. So because this was added on, I kind of cheated this into an Ubuntu system. I still have the Gnome calculator as well as their calculator. So, and it's going to take a little while because this is the snap for calculator. Don't get me started on that. That's why it took so long to open that calculator. Snap is installed, yes, because I use the Ubuntu core, but if you do a snap list, you could see that it's only the canonical proper Ubuntu stuff that is installed as snaps. Elementary does not install things as snaps. The magnifying glass icon, the settings, if we go into the settings, they've added under displays here, they have the nightlight. So like the new Gnome has the nightlight with automatic turning red, and blue shifting is what they call, or red shifting, depending on what you read. Turns your monitor a warmer color when it's darker out. It's actually easier on the eyes. You don't get that harsh blue shining in your face. So that's been included in the latest version. One thing that you can add, there's a couple different ways to do it because there's a couple of PPAs. The tweaks tool for elementary. You can also use the Gnome tweak tools as well, which you would just install in the terminal with sudo apt install gnome tweak tool, and this will install the Gnome tweak tool, which you can also change your icons and whatever with that. So the Gnome tweak tools lets you, the elementary tweak tools lets you do the same thing as the Gnome tweak tools. Change your icons, change your cursors. Let me put it back. Where was it? Elementary. So we'll leave it at that. You change your fonts. You can modify the animations. The dock down here, you can hold control. This is just Plank. It's Plank made pretty. They have their theme, of course, their icons and everything. But if you hold control and you right click on it, you can go to preferences, and then you can change it if you want it on the left or if you want it on the bottom. How big do you want it? Do you want it to auto hide? All the settings are in here. Behavior, window dodging, all that stuff. So hold control, right click, and you have your preferences here. Animations for elementary, miscellaneous is blank. Don't know what should be in here, but again, beta, right? Files, this is an adapted GNOME files or Nautilus. The default is single clicks. So I'm not a fan of a single click, so you can turn this off with elementary tweaks, and then you have to double click for everything, which is how I like it. And restore tabs, date format, other cool little handy things. Surbear, I don't know if they're going to add options to this. Surbear. I'm not sure how they pronounce that either. However, this is like a watchdog. This ensures that the proper processes are running to keep your desktop up and running as it should be. So let's say that the Plank dock down here were to crash and close. This program will open it up again for you. So, and any other essential services that are running in the background. It's basically monitoring them all, and then if one crashes, it will restart it automatically. So that's really cool. Terminal, that's one thing I'm going to look at as well. Change the background colors, natural, copy, paste, follow last tab, safe, unsafe paste alert. That's something I'm going to mention in a second here. Videos, stay on top while playing, move windows from video, move window from video canvas. I don't know what that exactly means. Don't instantly start video playback. That might be handy because you can open up a video file and then click play when you want. That's totally up to you. So a lot of these settings here, it looks a lot like Gnome does, the Gnome settings. And if we click on About, Ubuntu 18.04 LTS, wrong. That will say in the final release Elementary 5.0. But that's what it's built on for now because I hacked this in. And okay, what else? The mod key, the Windows key. I'm sure my KDE one will come up. If you press the Windows key or the mod key on your Mac, the KDE menu on mine comes up, even in a virtual machine. So ignore this. But what will come up is this keyboard shortcuts. So this keyboard shortcuts allows you to, oh, let me do that again. This keyboard shortcuts just shows you what you can do with different key combinations. It's kind of cool. You can just hit it and it'll pop up and remind you what you can do. So it does not open the applications window here. It will open this shortcut here. If you want the applications menu, you would do Windows key or mod key and space. It's right here. So if I do that, applications menu comes up. So that's how you know that. All the software that comes with Elementary. So you got your multitasking view. So if you have multiple windows open here, you can actually put this on your dock, right? So then you have it here, and then you can kind of do one of these, very similar to Gnome, right? There are other applications, the App Center, their calculator, everything has been updated and cleaned up and improved. The App Center, I will say, has a couple of glitches. It's very nice, but sometimes it freezes. And again, beta. So let's see what it does here. I'm going to go in and let's say I want to add Cherry Tree, this cool note taker. So let's click on that. And this is sometimes when it freezes. I think it already did. Oh, maybe not. Okay, it's working this time. So again, it is beta, so it will be awesome when it's done. I'm sure it will. So one thing that's missing in here that some other package managers have is reviews, but that's really a personal thing if you want that type of stuff or not. So you want your application here, hit that, enter in your password, and it will go ahead and install it in the background. You can also do it from the terminal like you normally would with any Ubuntu or Debian-based operating system. So now it's installed, and you'll notice that there's no icon. It doesn't show up right away. I have to log out, log back in, or reboot, and then it will show up. But it still works. It's just the icon doesn't set right away. It'll be this gray panel with the gear in it. No big deal. It will be fixed. I'm sure it will. And then we have Cherry Tree here. Okay, so moving on to applications. Scratch is now called Code. It is their text editor. It is very nice. And they just changed the name to Code. It's very much like Genie or Get It. And if you're loading up code here, it will even color it up for you and make it look nice. So awesome program, awesome thing to be included here. The terminal. The terminal is pretty awesome for a couple of reasons. If you are looking at how to do something online, like for example, when I wanted to add the Elementary tweaks, I had to paste in code to add a repo and update keys and yada, yada, yada. You'll get a warning pop up that tells you that the code that you're entering might be unsafe. So you get kind of like a pop-up notification saying like, are you sure you want to execute this command because it might cause problems? So that's really awesome. I really like that a lot. That's a really awesome feature, and I wish more distributions had it. Another cool thing about the latest version of Terminal is if you hit this gear here, you can zoom in and out, which you can also do with the keyboard, and you can change to different color themes. There's these 3 color themes. I don't know if they'll add more or if there will be an option to add more, but I actually really like this one. It looks really good. So Terminal is good. I like the safety command. Again, all distros should have that, and yeah. Okay, what else? So video, music, all these applications have been updated. These are all their own applications that they've adapted or forked, and they all look fantastic. As I said before, they've all had their updates, and they're all, what do I have here? VLC. VLC is a leftover from installing Ubuntu, but there's a bit of a mix here because of the Ubuntu stuff, but you know what? Their applications are all just gorgeous. And I forgot to zoom out. Yeah. So yeah, their applications are just so good looking. It's just beautiful. The elementary tweaks that I was talking about. Let me just go back to these settings in the layout. So window controls, if you have elementary, it will stay like this. If you pick Windows, it puts your minimize, maximize, and close buttons like you would in Windows. I don't know why they call it Windows. Or you can go close only right, close only left. So different options on how you want this laid out. OS X kind of makes it the same as the Ubuntu, but in a different order. So yeah, there's different ways of doing it. The elementary one's okay as long as you're used to it, but you have the option to change it if you install the elementary tweaks. I will put in the description a couple of places where you can get them, different PPAs that you add, but if you Google installing elementary tweaks, the instructions are right there, and it's just pasted into the terminal, update, and then install. So yeah, so as I said, this is a beta. There's a new installer. I can't show you the new installer because it's not included in here, but there will be a new installer, and I'm excited to see what it looks like. I'm excited to see the final product and try it. And yeah, this is the preview. This is what we're going to be looking at. I can show you if I do this and let it do that. I have, where is it? Put it over here. This is elementary 0.4. So this is the previous version. So again, it looks very similar, but a little different. One thing that you'll notice is, and this kind of bugged me, and it must have bugged them too, there's a little space here that is uneven, right? You have these 3 icons, and then this space, and then this. So this little gap here was not even, and I always thought that was weird. But when you look at the new version, they fixed it. It's all been evened out, right? Yeah, and then you can see the difference with the magnifying glass, how it looked before, how it looks now. So, looks good, looks better. One thing I don't know if you know, I didn't know, the volume icon here. I always thought it was a little irritating that they didn't have the microphone volume. And you have to go to sound settings and then input, and then it's available. Well, I never actually tried it before, but I realized I installed, and let me just put this back to full screen. I installed OBS just to try it. So if you look here, there's only volume, right? So if I start up OBS, it detects that the software I'm running uses the microphone. So you get your microphone volume right away, right? That's pretty cool. So then if I close it, the little microphone goes away. So one more little thing that elementary really has. It's fantastic. It's beautiful. And I'm not going to install 0.4 on hardware, but you know what? I'm going to install 5.0 on hardware when it does come out for sure, because it is so nice to look at. And I might even put this on my wife's laptop without her knowing, just so she could try it, because she doesn't want to try Linux. I got to get her into it, and I think this might be a good way to do it. I think she might actually like this. And so if I do that, I'll discuss it in another video. So would I recommend Elementary OS? Absolutely, I definitely would. If there's a caveat, if you do not need the NVIDIA Optimus drivers. NVIDIA drivers, fine, no problem. The NVIDIA Optimus drivers using Bumblebee, it's a no-go in Ubuntu, and I haven't seen much about it. I've seen people trying to get it working in Elementary OS. I've never seen anything successful. So I would say if you have an NVIDIA Optimus card, I would say no. If you want to stick with something Ubuntu based and use NVIDIA, I would say try Pop! OS, because they have an NVIDIA version. I have not tried it yet on hardware to test it on my system, but I will, I promise. And so yeah, if you have just an Intel or a straight NVIDIA video card and you like something Ubuntu based, I definitely recommend Elementary. I definitely recommend it for anybody who loves the Ubuntu based long-term support type distro. So that's all I got for now, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for subscribing. I'm at past 1,000 subscribers now. Still waiting to get my USB stick, my prize, sent out. Michael hasn't responded yet. We'll see. It's only been a day. But anyways, I want to thank my current patrons, Carl Schneider, George Maris, Matt Hartley, Kit Waltz, and Says. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. I will be doing another giveaway. I don't know when yet. I don't know what number of subscribers yet. We'll see what happens. So subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to share, and swing on over to my Patreon if you want to throw me a couple bucks and help me support this channel. All right, guys, till next time, bash on.